Welcome to episode 3 of Fired Up for Friday, and I got a jam-packed episode for you this Friday, February 13th. And lucky you on this Friday the 13th, I got a few albums that only get better as it goes on, and I got some killer, brand new heavy, and maybe even the front runner for album of the year so far on this episode, so stick around. And if you're in a band label or PR and you would like music featured on Fired Up for Friday or any other aspect of the Metal Institute of Thrashology, please reach out to me at the email address Metal Institute of Thrashology, all one word, @gmail.com. So let me know if you want to be featured here, what you liked, what I missed, or complaints about my ugly face. Please send them all to that email address. Thanks for watching, and stick around to the end to see what my favorite album from last week's batch was. There were some killer albums that dropped last week, so you gotta stick around to see what it is. Stoner rock doom band Blazoner dropped a 5-song EP, all of covers, where they took 4 mediocre songs, 1 mountain song, and they did the impossible. They took the 4 mediocre songs and made them great. In all honesty, I think every mountain song's great. Anything with Leslie West, I'm in. Now I know a lot of you are gonna say these 4 songs, the originals, are great, but I firmly disagree with that. Injecting some doom and psych and a ton of saturation into the riffs, which really thickens up these songs, and that's where Blazoner shines by carving out some grooves that honestly had me singing along. If you want to call it singing, I'm not very good at it. And Blazoner putting their own spin on these 5 songs, adding some modern production, makes these 5 songs land much harder than the originals. The 4 mediocre songs are the Rolling Stones' Jumping Jack Flash, Queen's I'm in Love with My Car, the Genesis's In the Beginning, Kapachi from the Melvins, which I'll digress and say that's a good song too, but it still doesn't hold a flame to the album closer, Mountains, Traveling in the Dark. Leslie West is like the double-edged sword. He can kill you with vocals, he can kill you with the strings. Blazoner really thickened these songs up, all while they leaned into different styles of psych, doom, and stoner rock. And like I said, I prefer all 5 of these songs to the originals, and no disrespect to Blazoner, but that wasn't a very hard bar to clear. And if you're one of the viewers who happens to like Queen, the Rolling Stones, or even Genesis, please tell me why in the comments, because I can't figure it out. And as I mentioned earlier, my favorite on this one was Mountains Traveling in the Dark, the album closer, as Blazoner was able to capture the same amount of soul and sincerity that Leslie West brings to these songs. And especially that saucy lead that had Leslie's tone on that guitar. I always enjoy a good cover song. Now I'm giving this one a 74C because it's not their material, so it's going to chart a little bit lower as it wasn't their writing. But like I said, I enjoy a good cover, and this EP is definitely worth visiting. Epic power metal band Greyhawk releases their brand new album, The Warriors of Greyhawk, off of Cruz del Sur Music. Powerful guitars with awesome leads and sharp arpeggios. Also having clean sweeps and a tone that's brighter than a coastal lighthouse. And while Shredfest 26 is going down in the string section, we have soaring vocals that tell stories reminiscent of Maiden and Dio about overcoming obstacles, vanquishing enemies, and other fantastical journeys, which are consistent, entertaining, and a staple of this metal genre. A modern update and production on a tried and true sound. It's these combination of sounds from various different subgenres of metal that really help Greyhawk stand out in such a crowded metal field. And like I said last week, I'm not a fan of power metal, so they might have lost a few points on that front. But whatever they lost, they sure gained twice with that string department we talked about earlier. And this is excellent production, but I want more of those guitars in front. Hell, just give me the isolated tracks of the guitars. They're that good. Like I said, I might have this a little bit lower than others, but I did really enjoy this album. This is 2 weeks in a row that I like power metal? Greyhawk is for fans of powerful power metal bands like Sabaton, Tungsten, Adamantis, and similar sounds to them. I said maybe a little lower than others, but I'm going to give this one a 79C. German rockers in Stargo send over their latest release in this Friday's Violet Skies. Now I'm going to call this one stoner rock, but I feel that this is leaning more towards the hard rock and maybe grunge even vibes. Violet Skies have thick, groovy, distorted riffs, powerful drumming, and a frontman who knows when to lay in and when to come off the gas, applying just enough grit that I'm thrilled. And this is some stoner rock with the doom influences, which gives me some Sabbath vibes, but having the benefit of modern production. And there's grooves abound. Even after several plays, I'm still finding nuggets and morsels buried in the mix, and it's almost like a party or a scavenger hunt. Trying to find the little tidbits and nuances of each instrument, and that modern production makes a scavenger hunt that much more fun, as everything is clearly separated in the mix, and you can put your ear on it when and where you want. My favorite part about Violet Skies is that it'll appeal to fans ranging from hard rock and grunge to stoner metal, doom, and psych rockers, and really just fans of good music in general. There's an underlying groove from the moment the first note is played to long after the record stops spinning, as the riffs seem to just worm their way into your head and just be on constant loop in my brain. Now that I think about it, that might be the only thing in my brain. Just riffs rotating around in there. It's like a hollow cavity, I guess. At times, this could even feel like a bluesy rocker. But the technicality, the groove, and the tempo shifts keeps this entire album by Stargo entertaining. The album Violet Skies is for fans of bands ranging from Baracho and Sabbath to Elder to Howling Giant and many more of that doom and stoner psych sound. Now, I wasn't familiar with Stargo prior to this album, so I'm going to head over after this and I'm going to check out the rest of their stuff. And I suggest you do too. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 85 because I thought this was a strong-ass album. Atlanta is way down in the dirty South. And it must be filthy because Malefic's new album, Impermanence, off of Terminus Hate City, is downright disgusting. And although Malefic's been a band since 2007, here's their debut! And as long as this thing's been marinating, it sure got spicy. And from the moment you press play, the black attack begins, where guitar tones just shine in a murdered out matte black finish. Distortion is thick and saturated, and the riffs are well written and better executed. The hell with percussion, these dudes are bringing concussions. As between the bass and the snare drums, it sure sounds like one repeated beating. Shifting tempos, varied rhythms, technical moments, and those guitar leads are great. And while I think this is a great album, I also think it might be twice as good live. Hopefully, I'll get the chance to experience that, and then I'll report back and let you know which one I like better, the album or the show. Having vicious lyrics aligns perfectly with the soundtracking music, as does the vocal style and cadence, which is exactly what you would expect out of a blackened thrash of this style. And each song stays within that blackened framework structure. However, sometimes Impermanence shifts into the blackened death realm, and then maybe into some blackened thrash, and then just some straight up black, repeating and shifting over the course of this entire album. And this album is aggressive, which made it even better. For fans of bands like Carcass, Grave Ripper, Morbicon, this will appeal to fans of like Blackened Thrash, Blackened Death, Pure Black, and even melodic death metal. A widely appealing album that's great. And this one's so good, I'm going to go out and give it an 85 also. Make sure you check out the latest release, Impermanence by Malefic. Now, I've been waiting for this one for a long time, and it's finally here in all its glory. The band Worm has released their brand new offering, Necro Palace, which is a heavily textured, dynamic extreme metal album. And being billed as extreme metal, I can see why. Picking up where 2023's Star Path left off, that was a split with Dream Unending. Their newest full-length Necropalace has it all! With blackened metal sounds over death metal-esque riffs, while having a sense of urgency, a sense of chaos, and some killer-ass riffs. And with a guest appearance by Marty Friedman, one of my favorite guitars on the album closer, it shows the echelon of quality that Worm likes to hang out with. And everything on this album is done at a really high level of competency, but my favorite part is always the guitars, and I couldn't resist. And with Marty Friedman, again, being one of my favorite guitarists, made this album all the more appealing to me. And this is metal Marty Friedman. This isn't his J-pop stuff, which I still enjoy, but I still prefer metal Marty over J-pop Marty. I think all of us metalheads will agree on that. I have a feeling Necropalace will be hanging out in my recently played list for a long period of time. And the vocalist knows when to shine, when to back off, allowing someone else to shine, or when to just torch it all and let everything burn. This album rips. Now this is Worm's first full length on Century Media Records, so you can head over to Century Media or Worm's Bandcamp and pick your copy up over there. Skip streaming this one, just go right to purchase, because this thing deserves it. Worm is for fans of bands like Tomb Mold, Blood Incantation, Dream Unending, and maybe like some Ulcerate too. This album's strong, so it's getting the highest ranking I think I've had this year. It's an 87B, making Necropalace the front runner for Album of the Year so far. Now, for the best album of last year. Now, we all have ideas what things should sound like, especially when it's a band that you're already familiar with. And this time, it was everything I thought it was, and more! Now here's a disclaimer for all you European and German-speaking people. I took 2 years of German 1, so if you do the math, that's like being in German 4, so I'm kind of an expert in pronunciations, but don't hold it against me. It's been a while. And once I found out that Kanonenfieber had a new album coming out, I kind of assumed that the riffs were just leftover tidbits from their 2024 album, D or Catastrophe. With as much as I enjoyed that album, I just figured this would be much of the same. And I'd like to give a shout out to Lindsay from the Moshville Times, who schooled me up and let me know that this is a collection of Kanonenfieber's EPs and singles packaged together, and I threw my back out trying to lift this package. A one-man wrecking crew. Noise is the name of the man delivering the punishment straight to your ears. And it's a true blitzkrieg. And the newest release by Kanonenfieber, Soldaten Schicksal. I bet you I butchered that. Its lyrics were based off of documents, publications, and historical facts from the period of the First World War. Sung completely in German, but way better than my pronunciations of German. If I remember correctly, World War I was one brutal-ass war, which makes one brutal-ass album. The low end feels like a Panzer division just crushing the skulls underneath the tracks of the tanks, while the riffs sound like an MG8 runaway gun in a machine gun pit just throwing rounds downrange. And the vocals are of tones that sound like a klein Flammenwaffe, which is like a flamethrower, just melting everything in its path. And as hot as this album was, I kept coming back for more. And if you missed it, head over, check it out now. I'm giving it an 86B, which is just behind Worm in Album of the Year. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you hate. Put it all in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the pit.